How did I make $10,000 cash while in college? I'm gonna break down exactly how I did it. Now, as I go through this, keep in mind this was 2000, let's say I graduated in 2006, so it's probably like 2003-ish. So this is like 15 years ago when I was doing this, and it might still work, but the idea here is just to show you how when there's new stuff out there, there's always opportunities. So if anything, I want to inspire you to always have the mindset of there's opportunities all over the place. I just have to find where they are. So like I said, I don't know if this opportunity is still going to exist, but it may still exist in maybe a different form, but there are ways, if you're willing to get a little creative, put in a little backbone, put in a little sweat equity, that you can make some nice cash for yourself. So how did I actually do it? Well, in college, you go to a place here known as the bookstore. You don't want to know what you buy at the bookstore. You buy books at the bookstore. You buy your textbooks. And what the store does, their business model is, we'll sell you new, and then when you're done, we will buy it back. It being the textbook itself. Of course, this section of it, when they buy it back, is going to be for less than the new price because, well, it's no longer new. So yes, textbooks depreciate in value. So it's going to be less. So now they'll get the book and then they'll just go and sell it again. And just so it goes on and on and on in this fashion. And of course, as the book depreciates, the bookstore is going to be willing to buy it back from you for less and less as time goes by. Again, just a depreciating asset because that book is going down in value over time. So that is the bookstore business model. Now back in 2003-ish, we had this thing called the internet. We had this thing called Amazon.com. We had this thing called half.com. Leave me a comment below if you remember half.com. They don't exist anymore, but they were, I don't know. I might be lying here, but I think they were still separate at this point, but eventually eBay bought them. And so I don't know where they fit into it, but half.com. So what was going on in the online, book market? Well, over here, in the, the internet, the waves of the internet, just, whoa.
Cloud.
Yeah, cloud. So there we go. The cloud, the internet. People would say, you know what? I'm not happy, Mr. Bookstore, with your buyback price. I paid such and such price for it, yet you're willing only to pay it for, you're only willing to buy it back for me. I'm going to just go ahead and what? I want to list it online. Now, at this point in time, as of the recording of this video, this is kind of like, it's like common. There's nothing revolutionary about it. But remember, this was 15 years ago. So people were like, yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll see what's going on. Believe it or not, a lot of people never even thought to first look on Amazon. They would go to like half.com. I realized why would you not start at Amazon? This was 15 years ago. So people are going to list their books online. So what, I got to thinking, I was like, I wonder if I had a textbook for, and I'm just making up these numbers, kind of, but I bought, or the bookstore selling a book for 100, but then when they get to, so this is 100, but then when it's time to buy it back, let's say they're offering to buy it back for 70, and I thought, okay, there's $7 right there, possibility to put in my pocket for this book. And this book could just be whatever. So what I discovered was, let me start to search on the internet, see what's going out there. And lo and behold, what I discovered was, Bob here was selling this same exact textbook used for $40. Why Bob was doing that, I don't know. Maybe he only had to buy it for, I don't know, $50. I don't know why. I never knew the why. But point is, I would say, hey, look at this. Bob is selling that same book for $40. Let me give this a try. I went and I bought the book from Bob for $40. So that was my cost. You want to know what I did with that book that showed up in the mail? I took that book to the bookstore and said, I would like to cash in this book, please. They said, let me look it up in the system. Oh, we'll give you $70 for that. Oh, okay, here you go. You can have my book for $70. And then what happened? I walked away with what? $30,000. I wish it would have been $30,000. $30 cash in my pocket. Clay, that seems like a lot of effort. When you're 21, 20, and you kind of just enjoy the challenge of it, I assure you, just the satisfaction of, wow, I just made the system work for me. That was cool. Plus $30, I'll take it. And then I started to, you start to gauge, you start to figure out what, the stores want to, buy back for. And you just, you ask, you talk to people, and, you're going to get good ballpark ranges of what the store was willing to buy back. And then I just started, sometimes you'd find a gold mine being, for whatever reason, online, you'd have all sorts of people where you could just buy the same book. So there's sometimes where I bought like the textbook like 5 times, and I just had, the same textbook showing up. But this is where, the business has to evolve. So you can't just keep going back to the same store with the same book because, Ohio State, where I graduated from, it's a huge school. So, and maybe I was just being too paranoid, but I wanted to err on the side of caution. But I was like, well, I don't want them to, wait, it's this kid again. We already bought this book back from him. It's this kid. So, what was it? I think there was like 5 bookstores on Ohio State's campus. So, you'd go back, and it's not like I knew what every bookstore was, but like I said, you'd get a range. So maybe one bookstore, the profit margin instead of 30 was like 20. Who knows? Maybe one was like 35. But I'd change it up. And maybe this is really too paranoid, but then I'd have to go at like different times of the day to make sure that somebody different was behind the register. Sometimes you'd have to put on like a cap or, just put on a hoodie. I don't know. I had to change up because who knows? Maybe they never suspected it was the same kid, but you had to mix things up. And that's all I did was I found, cutting edge, something that was out there at that time, such as there was a disconnect, obviously, between the bookstores and then what was going on online. And because of that disconnect, in economics terms, because of this market inefficiency, I was able to capitalize on the inefficiency. And yeah, it added up. And I think 10,000 is a little conservative, but I don't want to go too much. But yeah, $10,000. And like I said, you walked away with cash. And plus, the other thing was, you'd get the Amazon credit card. And Amazon, I think at that, maybe it's still that way, but it was like 3% cash back. So I'm buying all these books online, getting 3% cash back on the credit card. Then I'm going and turning a profit. So Amazon was, they started to send me all sorts of, it was a good gig. And then eventually, because this was a lot of legwork, you got to walk, you got to figure out, okay, what is the price? All right, and you got to try to keep things. I did lose money on some transactions because this was a moving market, and I'd go and like, oh, we're only willing to pay you back. So I'm like, all that, and now I lost $10. It was never a huge loss, but it went in my favor. But it got me thinking, well, how do I do this more efficiently? And then that's when I moved into the online stuff. And maybe I'll do a podcast. If you're not aware, I do offer a Money with Clay podcast. Maybe I'll do something where I break down that business model. But I'm a little bit tighter fisted with that because it's still my goal one day if I find some really good programmer and like really good database person, because the really good people like have it all automated. But I eventually, bottom line, I built this whole model on the internet between Amazon and half.com. And again, use the market inefficiency. Amazing to think that people never thought to check Amazon, before checking something else before they bought a book. But yeah, marketing efficiencies. So my point in this is how I did it. Think it to yourself. Look around. Is there some market inefficiency somewhere? Is there something where you're like, wait a second, if I do that and then I can offer that, could that put some extra cash in your pocket? And I guarantee you there are opportunities. There are always opportunities. And that's the great thing about a changing world and a changing technology is that there are always going to be market inefficiencies where things aren't quite balanced. And eventually they will balance. That's why I say I don't think this is going to work. I don't know how the bookstore business model works, right? And I know, can't you rent textbooks now? So I think the whole dynamic has shifted. The market has balanced, but there's some other form out there where there's going to be an imbalance and inefficiency that you can put cash in your pocket. So if anything, I hope this inspires you to kind of look at the world through the lens of where can I find an opportunity to leverage some stuff in my favor, because there's really no room for excuses. There's always a way to put some extra money in your pocket if you're willing to get creative and just put in some sweat equity. Thanks for watching the video. If you are interested in the top 10 links that I use on a daily basis to manage, to control, and to build my finances and to make them efficient as possible, then down below in the description, if you're watching this on YouTube, description, if you're watching this on moneywithclay.com, then just down below the video, you can click on the link and that'll take you to these links that I use on a daily basis that really allow me to work smarter and not harder.